Okay, so first I want to ask you, obviously you've been working here for a couple of years, but in previous employment, have you ever had to do a 360 review?
Never had to do a 360 review formally like this. I started out my career in sales, so the feedback was actually very candid. You kind of knew where you were at all times, and you literally hop off a sales call, the manager would be listening, immediately go into their office and say, here's where you need to do better, here's what you sucked at, and I knew my temperature at all times. And it was very collaborative too, because I was actually, it was a smaller arm of the company, and we did collaborations and simulations all the time, and people's strengths and weaknesses got drawn out almost immediately. So, very unique situation.
Okay, great. Well, as you see, here's a summary of everything. The first thing I wanted to discuss before we dive into the specifics is, as you'll see, for the most part, you're seeing very high ratings from your peers and direct reports. However, for the most part, you've given yourself significantly lower scores. So before we dive into the specifics, I just want to know, do you feel that you are very critical of yourself?
Yeah, I feel that that's one of my biggest, not overall characteristics. I know maybe a personality flaw, if you want to call it that. I'm very hard on myself. I know I'm my biggest critic, and that doesn't just confine itself to the walls of the office. I mean, it's in my life in general, and I think that, unfortunately, I think that's a huge cause of stress. I know that there are areas that I'm strong in and areas that I have general weakness in, or opportunity areas, but I do know that overall I'm very, very critical of myself.
Well, I mean, as you'll see from specifics from your managers and your peers, there are some very strong points where you then don't feel the same about yourself. As you'll see here, you gave yourself a 2 in Think Strategically, while everyone else felt you were at a 3.6, meaning that you did it just about all the time. Now, obviously in accounting, you have to think analytically, strategically all the time. What made you feel that you only do this part of the time while everyone else perceives you do it all the time?
I feel that there are certain things that I've been involved with since the first day I joined the company that I still do, that are maybe more menial tasks. And especially recently with the growth of the company, I feel like there's just some things that, kind of as you had said, a few things that I just tend to do myself as well too. So in doing that and involving myself in so many things that, I don't want to call myself above, but things that I could easily delegate away to free up my own time, I feel that I'm doing myself a disservice by, releasing myself from making higher level decisions and staying down in the area of just, menial tasks and whatnot. I feel that my ability is there, but I don't get to use it as much, and I think that's my own fault.
So how do you feel that you can develop that characteristic?
I think in saying that, I can do a better job of delegating out tasks, as I said, to other members of my team, things that I don't necessarily have to be a part of anymore. Things that, quite frankly, there's no value add by me doing it or anyone else on the accounting team doing it as well, too.
Another strong point that everyone else feels that you're very strong in is drives efficiency. And you feel that, once again, you're not as efficient as you could be. Your manager gave you a 4, and you gave yourself a 3, your peers gave you a 3.8, while your peers gave you, while you gave yourself a 2 as well. What do you feel you are not being as efficient in?
I think with efficiency, it goes back to the area of delegation of tasks. And I think that if you were to strip away all of the tasks that each person does within the accounting team and then reassign them based upon, say, description of roles that I've put together for the accounting team, you're gonna see a lot more well-oiled of a machine. And I think really my main fault with a lot of being critical of myself is I see an end goal, and I'd like to be there right now. And I know that it's just not gonna happen. I mean, I can work every day as hard as possible to being where I need to be, but I feel that